Brown Girl Perspective. My name is Manbani Ori. I'm a student at law at Cheha Law, Edmonton, Alberta. Today we're going to be talking about the NCA. The NCA is basically the first step you take towards becoming a foreign law or internationally trained lawyer in Canada. In case you have a foreign law degree and are intending to move to Canada, this is the basic first step which you would take towards your licensing process. The NCA is the National Committee on Accreditation. It's basically a regulatory body which holds examinations. They assess your degree and further hold examinations or guide you towards what examinations or assignments you need to do in order to have a degree equivalency as good as a Canadian law graduate, which would be a JD. So for example, I did BA LLB from India and further applied to the NCA and got 5 examinations, which I did over a period of approximately 1.5, I think to approximately 2, it took me 2 years. And by which, once I got that certificate, I was as good as a JD candidate who has passed out 3 or 4 years law in Canada. The National Committee on Accreditation would initially just take in your documents or your foreign law degree and your mark sheets. They would take an approximate time of, I think, 6 to 8 weeks to assess your degree and further give you a report which would say either how many examinations you have to take through the NCAs. Usually, if you are from a common law background, they do just assess your degree and give you NCA examinations. And recently there's been an update of some assignments because everything being online. Keeping in mind, if you are intending to apply for the NCAs, it does not matter which law school you went to or what background you come from, in the sense that if you are from a civil law jurisdiction or a common law jurisdiction, law practicing country, NCA will guide you through it. You do not be hesitant to apply, at least for the basic assessment. And also, it does not matter what citizen you are, from which country you are, and where are you from. They do have a self-assessment test, which is a recent update on their website, and I have provided the link below. So you can always go and check in on how many years of practice, and in case you're a recent law graduate or whatever your personal situation is. The NCA does cover and give you guidelines for anything and everything in case you are looking to get licensed in Canada. Once you've checked out the self-assessment test, you should go ahead and apply for your NCA process. They do take a certain amount of time for your assessment and do provide you with how many examinations you can take. If you are from a civil law background, they might just have you take few courses from a different Canadian law school, as there's a lot of difference when it comes to coming from a civil law background to a Canadian law background, which is mostly based out of common law except for Quebec. And again, it also depends on where you're coming from, because there are some jurisdictions which are a mixture of common law and civil law, but yet I went from a common law background, so did not have so many examinations to give. But I do know somebody who went from a civil law background and had to go through a proper Canadian LLM just because of the fact that they did not have experience in common law. And there's a little bit of difference when it comes to the jurisdiction, the practicing, and the conventions and everything, keeping in mind. But do not get discouraged with this, because they do guide you. It does take you a lot of time. Yes, giving the NCAs and the licensing process is a journey, but everybody stands differently on this journey. And I personally feel that you should not get dissuaded in case the NCA does provide you with a certain amount of courses, or they do not allow you to go through, or there are certain appeals which you can put through. And you can always write to them and ask them of why it's not been, processed, or what is the reason why you have to go through certain examinations or certain courses or assignments. So that is always the case. Once you get your assessment, they will definitely, after a few weeks, I assume it's 6 to 8 weeks, or maybe due to COVID, it can be more. But they do give you an assessment which talks about whatever examinations you have to give. I can tell you the basic 5. They do give you basic 5 examinations in Canadian law, unless or until you might have done a course, an LLM, which covers them. But if you're completely applying from a common law jurisdiction, I assume these should be the basic 5 courses you would get, which is Canadian criminal law, Canadian administrative law, professional responsibility, foundations of Canadian law, and Canadian constitutional law. So these are the basic 5 examinations which I had to give, and mostly I've seen 90% of times they are the mandatory ones, because becoming a Canadian lawyer, you need to know these 5 subjects, at least these 5 subjects. In case you do get more examinations in which you were expecting, like for example, I had a few people who got extra exams, more than 5, they got around 8. You can appeal that decision and talk to the NCA, probably give them more of your transcripts or assignments which you have done, which could maybe corroborate those examinations for them. So definitely do that. Do not give up. It can be very tolling. It can take a toll on you. I would say start your journey as soon as possible, because you might want to take breaks in between. And I think NCA does give you a certain time to give your examinations after the assessment, and you don't want to, once you're done your assessment, you do not want to keep delaying giving your NCA examinations. And recently with COVID and everything happening online, I think it's become a little easier for people sitting anywhere in the world. They can give their examinations. Previously, there were proper centers. They did have different centers in different countries. But they were very limited. I gave my examinations mostly in the Edmonton Center, and it was quite a monotony to go down to a center and do it. So it is quite easy, much more easier these days to give it online. So I would say go ahead and good luck, and let me know in the comments if you guys need any help. Thank you.